Hey guys, Art Decline here, Average Picker. So, I've not done a video for a few days, and there's a couple reasons for that. One is I've just been horribly freaking sick and doing not much more than sitting on the sofa, alternating between orange juice and chocolate milk and anything that I thought could soothe the throat. And the other reason is I'm just kind of out of stuff to pick at the moment. I do not have a whole lot going on. I will say though we hit the 100 subscriber mark. So I tend to like numbers like 101 a little bit better. I find it odd how we celebrate these even falls sometimes. But it's something, so I've been able to change the URL now to the page, so it's Average Picker. So that's cool. But in all this being sick, I did manage the other day to take a bunch of a leave and do some cleaning up in the back room, and I came across this, or remnants of this, from, I don't know, a few weeks ago maybe, and this was the start of a just horribly overly complex challenge lock idea, and I thought I would just show it to you. This was kind of just the proof of concept rough. And the more I worked on it, and I actually had more work on it than just these parts. I don't know where the other bits went. Scattered across the floor or inside the vacuum cleaner, I suppose. But this part I'd happened to throw up on my desk. So the idea here was to build a teeter-totter. And so chamber 4 would serve as the fulcrum. And when you picked on 3, it would push down on 5, and conversely, when you picked on 5, it would teeter up and push down on 3. Now, this is very rough looking, and it looks all well and simple enough until you get into really what this was starting to take. And what this was starting to take was, it actually had another one of these that I had removed these driver chambers from, and had bored out kind of similarly in here to get our little teeter-totter board to fit in it, because this whole entire thing of driver chambers was going to need to be extended quite high to accommodate all the heavy lifting that chamber 4 was going to have to do. To kind of give you an idea, this was what was going to have to essentially be on a base level crammed into chamber 4. So we were looking at a driver pin, a spring, and then originally to serve as a fulcrum, I had taken a key pin and I just cut the tip off of it because your Schlage key pins are very kind of beveled like that. But then I was going to need another one. I ended up cutting a ball bearing, or trying to cut a ball bearing in half, I guess, and shave it down because it was a little too large for the chambers, and mount that, and then you're going to have a thing across here, and of course the standard size. This was just going to proved to be too much for poor little chamber 4, because remember, it's a teeter-totter. This is one of those ideas that just works better in your brain when you haven't thought about it. And once you get to executing it, you start to realize the complications. Because this bit was going to need to be able to have room to lift up and down on chambers 3 and 5. And then on top of that, you had the issue that this was going to have a spring and driver in it, as well as 3 was going to have a spring and driver in it. And then you've got these spring forces. You've got to kind of weight those, because are you just going to be canceling those out, right? This was going to have to be a pretty strong, heavy spring to be pushing up against this a lot and not cancel out with the other 2 springs, or with the other one when you tipped this up, because this teeter-totter was going to have to press down through that spring and compress it enough to put enough pressure on the driver pin to force it back in to the core. Horribly complicated. Now, that's not to say that you can't do something terribly complicated and get it to work, but if you really think about it, you could probably get a very similar effect with just making a couple of good spools and barrel pins, right? So as the barrel comes up, it's going to make you, you know, cock the core back a little bit, and you're going to end up dropping, you know, a driver down in that you've taken a little bit of dimension off of. So this was basically a very complicated mechanical means to accomplish something that probably could be done with just, you know, some nicely shaped pins. Anyway, guys, I am still quite sick. I'm probably going to take some more stuff and crash down on the sofa. But I thought this was kind of an interesting idea in theory, enough to do a video real quick and kind of share it with you. And hopefully I will be back up and moving about better, and we'll have something to pick soon for you guys. So yeah, there we go. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.